Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everybody, and welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is the AFTERBUZZ show for Castle, as you can hear. This is season 7, episode 1, the premiere for Driven. I'm Heather Joy Smith, and with me tonight is...
It's Alexis McLeod Torres. Hi everybody.
Hello, so welcome everybody, and we're excited because we're brand new on this panel this season, and Candace will be with us next week, and we're really excited.
Yeah, this episode was great, and I'm really excited to see the rest of the season because it looks like it's just going to be already starting on top and then just blasting through. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we got a jam-packed episode tonight. So if the rest of the season is anything like tonight's episode, like our minds are going to be spinning like crazy this entire season.
I was lost for a majority of the time.
At first I was like, okay, what is going on? And then I'm like, wait, what?
No, I was just like, no, honey bunches of no. Like, this is the worst.
So we picked up where we left off last season with as we saw, the Escalade was running Castle's car off the road in his Mercedes. We see this episode starts up with his Mercedes in flames, completely engulfed, and Beckett running down in her wedding dress to kind of save him. Like,
emotional for me.
It was so emotional.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah,
I agree. And I don't know. I like that the fact that, like, when I thought it was raining at first.
I did too. I was like, wait, oh no, that's the fireman.
Yeah. I was like freaking out. I was like, it's in the middle of the day.
So I was like,
what is happening? Stop it.
I was like, that is just a weird twist if it starts raining, but then we realize it's the fireman. And
I like that. I thought that was really writers. Awesome.
Good job. Tricked us for a second.
And then it went into, of course, trying to figure out, I think it was they were Rhode Island, right? Or Long Island? Long Island police showed up, and then they found out that the taillight went out, like, what was it, like miles up the street or something like that?
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to remember everything. There was so much in this episode.
So much.
So they found, the FBI was able to track his GPS or his phone to a junkyard, which was a few yards away. And then all I'm going to say is Beckett is a scary lady. When she's on it, that tackle was...
Both of us in the watching, like, whoa! Like, what did she just do?
I thought that she was just going to, like, yell at him, but no, just full on. Just elbows in her.
Just get him down on the ground.
Man, I wouldn't want to
Don't even mess with her.
Nope. And then what happened after that? I'm trying to read all my notes here. And then we found out that the guy who got the Escalade that was found there that was crushed was Gary Duffin. Yeah, and then after that, we found out that the person that got paid was brought Vinny back.
Yes.
From sixth season, and we found out that it was crushed, and we don't know this mystery man who like hired him to crush the car.
Very odd that
I don't know.
You know, there was a $10,000 transaction that went on to crush this car to get rid of evidence.
Yeah.
Very odd and shady.
Yeah, I thought the same way. I was like, who pays that much just to crush an Escalade? But I mean, it's a mob, so I'm not going to question anything like that.
Right.
But I mean, it was weird, and I was more still in shock from Kate's, football, tackle from earlier. That was ridiculous. And then we find out that, they go back to the precinct, and then we find out that Castle was the one that dropped the money in there. Please tell me what you thought. First thing.
Shocked. But my first reaction was like, okay, he was drugged. Someone put him up to this. There's no way he's like willing participant in this whole like craziness that's going on.
What it's called. Yeah, and I didn't like that the first thing, like, of course, Esposito's always the first one to sit there and be like, oh, it's he sat there and ran away from the wedding. Like, we don't know that yet. No. And I hated that. I mean, I felt bad for Kate for obvious reasons, but I hated the fact that he was just like, oh yeah, he's totally behind it. He's just, running away. I was just like...
And here's what I told her during this whole thing where Esposito's being a brat. I was like, he's still mad that he was not the best man.
Yes, I thought that was so great.
He is still bitter
And now we know why he's not the best man.
Yeah.
Sorry, Esposito.
You're not really a good friend, Esposito.
No.
Not at all.
Dude, I hated that. And
I like Esposito too.
I do.
But he was a brat tonight.
He's always a brat.
Yeah.
I feel like he's always the first one to just be either A, the hothead, B, whining, or 3, he's just, I don't know. It was just too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
Cool it down, buddy.
What happened next?
So Beckett ends up questioning Dufflin.
That's right.
While he's at the precinct. And once again, she's a... won't even say, but she was about to crack his fingers off.
She was a bad bee.
Yeah,
she's a bad bee. Yeah, I was waiting for it. I was like, I hate when she was like, he's like, oh, you're gonna break my finger. He's like, oh, you got 9 more. I was like,
oh, we cannot do this.
What's happening? Stop. Oh, it was so crazy. But I mean, you know, her man's missing. I get it.
Yeah.
I get, and it is Castle. We're talking about Castle. It is. I mean, I don't know. And then
so the boat.
Yes, that was the next thing.
So Castle's found in a dinghy.
Yep.
Custom paint job, fish hooks, line, whatever.
Yeah.
Completely custom, one of a kind. So they're able to track it very quickly to a Henry Jenkins.
Yeah. Who was, I forgot that actor's name, but I love him in everything that he does.
Yeah.
I was just like, yes, he's in this.
Yeah. So this is interesting that they find him in this boat. He's got gunshot wounds. There's
he's been dehydrated for days. It was found in Delaware. It started at Maine, so there was so much.
Maine to Delaware, and he had been in the boat for like that for 4 to 5 days. They said so. Very interesting that he kind of like coasted down.
And as soon as like they ran in and they were trying to talk to him, he wasn't waking up. I was like, oh my gosh, if this is a coma patient thing, I'm gonna lose it. Yeah, I'm gonna lose it. It's like a soap opera.
It is. This is totally a soap opera tonight.
It was just a pilot. Well, not a pilot. Excuse me. It's the season opening, and I was just like, I don't like this. I don't like where this is going. But at the same time, you've had me at the edge of my seat.
Exactly.
Since like it started.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
we had no idea what was coming the entire time.
I agree. And I was just like, what's going on? I had like my iPad and I was just like, I can't even take notes right now.
No, every time I looked down, I was missing something that was going on the screen. So I was
just like, I'm just gonna stop and just watch.
So true. So they go Beckett goes to Henry Jenkins' house, trailer, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know.
Not quite sure. A trailer in the middle of the woods,
which I thought was strange.
Very strange. And isolated.
And he was like, "Oh, this is my weekend home." I was like, "Who goes in?" Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me personally, but I don't like to go into the woods in a trailer by myself. That sounds like
sounds a little scary for me.
Yeah, I mean, what would happen if you got hurt? There's nobody around.
Exactly.
I can't do that.
So it was very odd that this guy was, like, oh yeah, he must have stolen my boat, like.
And he didn't report it. He didn't do anything. He was just like, oh, it's just I didn't even like the boat. And I was just like, then why did you
get this boat if you didn't even like it?
I don't know.
And then supposedly Castle was camping. What do you say, 50 yards away?
50 yards away. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 50 yards away. That was like on point. Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you. I wasn't even paying attention.
Castle has like a tent 50 yards away from this trailer where supposedly Henry Jenkins is living and staying and whatever. And in the tent, he has like a whole setup that could last him like 4 months.
Yeah, that's why. And I know he was gone for 2 months, but it looked like he's been living there for a year. Like I felt the same way. I was like, that's a lot of canned goods.
There's a lot of food there and junk, and just it looked messy.
It was really strange. And of course, when Kate pulls out the tux, everybody's just like,
yeah, like, oh,
I think a little part of me died, but at the same time, I didn't like that. Esposito's like, this is it. See, he did run away. He broke your heart, Beckett. And I was just like, what? We don't know that yet.
Grip.
Relax. We're supposed to be doing cop work here, like investigation stuff, not just like, this is it. We're done.
We're done.
Yeah.
See ya.
Okay.
He ran out on you. So
it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And then they went back to the precinct, or no, they went back to the hospital because he was awake.
He awoke,
and he doesn't remember anything.
Would you look at that? Of course he doesn't.
Right? And I was just like, okay, so now we're back to the soap opera stuff. So, of course, he doesn't remember the past 2 months that he's been missing. He only remembers getting into the car wreck, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then and I woke up here.
Which actually I kind of had a feeling was coming. Because to me, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would just up and bounce right before your wedding and leave for 2 months and then I don't know. If he was really gonna bounce, he was gonna bounce and like be out.
Yeah, and you would never be able to find him. And he shouldn't be camping.
No.
In what was that? I don't even know where they were. Just like, you know, by himself. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like his family probably would have known about it. Like,
and he wouldn't have left Martha and Alexis. Like, he's not that kind of dad and son. And
I agree.
Yeah, so I kind of had a feeling this was coming, like that he was drugged or something.
Yeah, which is what, you know, we were talking about that. I feel like there has to be a drug that, you know, for memory loss, because if he was able to walk around and do all these things,
exactly,
then, you know, there must have been something there, because no one just forgets and then just, you know, throws him off to the side and then like, oh, I'm just gonna get up and throw this money in this dumpster and then do this. Like, it didn't make sense. And I felt bad because you can tell that Kate was already just didn't believe him, like, right off the bat. But at the same time, you know, she was conflicted, so it was a weird,
very odd. It was like your emotions were teetering the entire episode, because you're like, okay, well, did he do this or did he not do this? Like, he couldn't have done this, there's no way. But
so, and then I like that, you know, finally they get out of the hospital. He's like, you gotta take me, you know. And of course they talked to, I think it was a psychiatrist or something like that, about, you know, the fact that maybe it was trauma or something, which I thought was interesting. And I was like, okay, that could be part of it, but it still doesn't make up the fact that he can't remember 2 months, like to the T. So,
you know what else is very weird is Lainey did her own she did her own little like observation of him, and she found the key with the 38 on it. Which,
did they ever even talk about that?
No, it hasn't come back. So I'm wondering if that's gonna come like next episode, where this 38 key is gonna kind of fall in, because you know it's gonna have to come back. There's a reason why they put that in there.
And it was sewn. It was sewn into his jeans.
Very odd.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it was just in his pocket or in his shoe. It was sewn into the jeans. I thought that was really strange.
Yeah, and another thing she came across was the bullet that crossed across his chest.
Yeah.
Was 3 weeks old, apparently.
Or something like that.
Yeah, around that. So it wasn't, like, fresh. But it kind of makes sense, though, because at one point they said he was gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
The timelines on these like flip-flopped all the like
it was very, feel like it was all off,
wishy-washy throughout the episode. So kind of hard to follow.
Yeah.
So I'm like, had to write things down, but from what I got, he was gone 2 months. So if he did have that bullet 3 weeks prior to when the bullets were done in the dinghy, that's maybe.
I mean, but I don't understand.
I'm sure it's all correlating.
Yeah, but I also don't understand if he was drugged or kidnapped or whatever. Why was there gunfire in the first place?
Yeah.
So I also thought that was strange. So I didn't know if, like, maybe he came to and tried to run away and then he got shot. Like, it was strange. And then he also had that tropical fever.
He had dengue fever.
Yeah, which I thought was also strange because, like, what Lainey said, she said that it's only in, Asia, Europe and South America. And I was like, okay, so either they had this drug and maybe this fever turns maybe memory loss. I don't know. Like, there was too many events going on. Like, he got shot and then he got a fever and then he tried to escape in a dinghy. He's been dehydrated for 4 to 5 days. I was just like, the writers are going a little nuts.
You should see our notes right now because they're like all over the place.
Like, I even put on like, I am emotional, don't know what to do. Like, I literally wrote that in my notes. I was just like, this is too much.
So crazy.
For an opening episode.
Yeah. So before we go on, we want to make sure to remind you guys to go onto iTunes and rate us 5 stars, please, because we're a new panel. So please rate us 5 stars because we're going to be great this season, we promise.
I'm so excited.
Yay. So yeah, please go and rate us. And then if you comment on YouTube, we will make sure to check those and comment back to you guys as well.
And don't forget to tweet us as well. Tweet us, Instagram, everything. We're all here. And we'll tweet you right back, retweet it or anything. Or we'll just have a discussion about it because, you know, we love talking about Castle.
Exactly.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. So another weird thing, speaking of the tropical thing, is Beckett took Castle back to the campground, and he no recollection, like can't even talk.
No recollection of it
of staying there this whole entire time, and he even brought up the fact as I wouldn't have stayed here because I'm afraid of tsunamis,
which I thought was so strange.
Which was so strange, and it was a little weird because he brings up this book that.
He didn't even write.
That was half written, but then he threw it out. He didn't want to write it.
I felt like that was not needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it because they tried to make up for the
tsunami
thing and the camping, but at the same time, I was just like, that doesn't there could have been a totally different, like, I don't like camping because my mom took me camping and I didn't like it. That could have been
too much of like, woo, okay, all over the place.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And then I thought it was a little weird that Beckett had no clue about this book either.
Yeah, because I feel like, you know, from all of us who've seen them through seasons that, you know, they've always talked to each other about everything. So I thought that's kind of strange that he didn't bring up a book that he didn't finish. But again, I can see why, because like, oh, it's not important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a book I didn't like. I threw it out. I didn't feel the need to tell you. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
But from her perspective, she's going,
yeah, she's like,
what else have you not told me?
Yeah, exactly. And it makes you look bad, you know. So I feel like you should have thought about that. But then again, I don't think he thought he was going to get kidnapped on his wedding day. He had no clue. You know, that whole thing.
Minor detail.
Yeah, minor detail.
So while they go and bring Castle to the campground, show him around, he has no clue. They also go back up to the trailer to see if he remembers Henry Jenkins.
I'm so glad this happened.
This was like turning point in the whole episode, people.
Knocked on the door, and then all of a sudden, some old man opens the door like, yes, I'm Henry Jenkins. No. No. I met him yesterday. No, I've been here for months.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally. Makes you wonder, where the heck was the real Henry Jenkins when the fake Henry Jenkins was at his house?
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to figure. I'm like, did he go back? Is it still a weekend house? Like, I don't understand how that. Yeah. How did he know what time to be there and when to leave? That was so strange. I'm not gonna lie though, I really liked that with the fake Henry Jenkins when he was just taking out his trash.
Right.
And they were just like, freeze, and he's like, ah!
That's so funny.
I love that. That was my favorite part out of that whole thing.
So funny. And okay, so with the real Henry Jenkins, if he does use this as a weekend home, it would make more sense that he had no idea that this fake Henry was there and the tent was there and this whole setup was there.
Yeah, because
he wasn't there.
Yeah.
But if he is living there, wouldn't you notice if there was a whole tent down?
I mean, I'm thinking that maybe he is there during the week, and then maybe on the weekends he goes somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe, and then that's probably what happened, so that's why they kind of switched it. I don't know. Again, the writers are just taking it to a totally different level.
We have no idea where this is going.
I don't know.
I'm
I'm just hoping that there will be more answers. I don't know. It was too much for me.
Yeah.
Again, bringing it all back. But I like the fact that they brought that, because now we can actually tell, okay, Castle is telling the truth. It gives Kate a little bit more time, but now it's just going to be awkward, which they brought up at the end of the episode, which I liked. So.
Yeah, because, you know, after all of this, it's been 2 months. They were supposed to get married.
And then he went missing.
I mean, obviously things aren't going to be the same as they were 2 months ago, fine and dandy, and everyone's happy. Yeah. They're going to have to kind of build this trust back up on Castle's side.
And it also doesn't help that he looks guilty.
He does.
And he doesn't remember... Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, he's walking around like everything's fine. I mean, we don't know about the tent thing because that was a fake Henry Jenkins, so maybe
that was a fake setup for them to find.
Yeah, because they had all of his stuff. They could have just, went to the grocery store and just put a bunch of cans in there, which was apparently they can't count because it was in there for a year, or like it looked like a year's worth of canned food. Yeah. But I mean, from my perspective, I feel that either it's got to be, like they said, it's probably an old not enemy, but an old case that's probably coming back for revenge because of the two of them, or maybe it has to do with not Kate's mother's killer, because that technically was already solved. Technically, and
you never know.
You never know, because I feel like it always just ends up coming back to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The first episode is really throwing you in there, like like hardcore, and then now it's just kind of, I feel like they put in too many things, so now it's hard for us to follow, but at the same time we're so excited that it's gonna be 10 times better. But I don't know if they're gonna keep with this.
Yeah.
Because you know how every season is, they have little cases and then they get back to a big case and then little cases again and then back to a big case.
Yeah. They always have like a little mini storyline throughout every episode, and then
but this one's this is
huge.
Big. Yeah. So I mean, this isn't the final season, correct?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel
Not
like
that
this
I've heard.
Neither. Same here. So I don't know. I mean, my prediction is very faint.
Yeah. You know what? When we first saw that Castle was missing, and like that, the whole money situation and the dumpster, at one point I was like, his dad's gonna come back and like try and save him or something. Like his dad's gonna come back, and that's a great way to introduce him back in. And they just totally went a different way.
They mentioned it. They were like, oh yeah, maybe he got in trouble with his dad. Maybe it'll come back. And I was like, are we bringing him back? And then
nothing.
Yeah, they just threw it out, and I was just like, okay, so now what? And that's where they left me at the very end of the very end of the show. Yeah. I was just like, what are we supposed to do now?
Yeah. I kind of felt really confused.
Yeah, exactly. And I wrote that. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. But predictions?
Predictions. Let's get into some predictions.
I always love this.
And now,
AFTERBUZZ Fantastic. Please go first.
Well, after all of this, I mean, I could predict that they get a pink flamingo as a pet next, and it could happen.
I like that prediction better than what I wrote.
I mean, really, though, this could go anywhere.
I agree.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they're going to have to make this Henry Jenkins, the fake Henry Jenkins, not the real one, the fake one. He's going to probably play in from some other episode.
Probably.
Previous seasons. Because it's very random that he just, like, appeared and took Castle. I'm going to predict he was the one who took Castle.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who else he was hired just to pretend to be Henry Jenkins. I would have been like, this is terrible.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure how he would have fit into past episodes, but I have a feeling
he's got to be related to somebody. Yeah,
they've had lots of mob situations in the past. Maybe he
part of it, or running something, or I don't know. Maybe he's like a son of someone's dad or mother that was put away by them. Like I don't know. It's very strange. Mine is more. I don't even have a prediction for this. I feel like, that Henry Jenkins is a son of somebody or a child of somebody who's, getting justice for this, or he's cahoots with somebody else. I don't think Vinny's part of this at all. I think he was just kind of an innocent bystander. If he does, that'll be a huge twist for me. But I don't know if anybody else, if you guys noticed or if you noticed that the Mama Castle's kind of acting kind of strange.
Very.
Like, I feel like if your son's been kidnapped and then returned, like she's not a very emotional lady anyway, but she seemed like, and when she told Kate, when she was like, well, maybe we shouldn't bring up anything. Let's just be happy he's here. And I was like...
She was overly happy.
Yeah, and like she was already pouring champagne. I'm so glad you're here. And I was just like, okay, that sounds like Mama Castle style. But at the same time, I didn't, it just seemed
it wasn't as emotional, like deeper that we wanted to see
like
from
your
her.
son was kidnapped and was missing for 2 months. And then all of a sudden, like the champagne's coming out. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being paranoid or just seeing nitpicking. But I don't know.
You never know.
She's giving me weird vibes. And I don't like, I don't know what she could actually get herself into. Besides maybe maybe she hired this guy for something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Her reaction as a mom is just strange. So I didn't know if that maybe is gonna end up being part of that, or maybe it's just me being nitpicking. I don't know.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I would like to see that and just see, because she's usually just kind of in the background anyway. That'd be kind of cool to see, like,
have her be more of a mainer character.
Yeah, because even Alexis even had more time. Being involved in kidnappings and all this kind of stuff. Because when she went missing, everybody was going crazy over that. I mean, but then even Mama Castle was even more emotional. Like, you have to find her. Like, she was crying and all this kind of things.
She wasn't crying like at all this episode.
At all.
She
was like nicely dressed, makeup, like everything was fine.
Yeah, even like during the fire, she was just kind of like.
Yeah, like Alexis was freaking out, and she was just like, "Oh my god," and that was it.
Yeah,
no other reaction. Like, "Oh, we're gonna find her. It's gonna be, we're gonna find him. Everything's gonna be fine." And I was just like, "What is happening?"
So crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
That's my prediction. I don't know about that. I feel like I might be, overstepping it, but that's the one thing that just like stood out to me, and I was like, "What? I need to find out more things about this." But I like that also, kind of going away from the episode, that if you read Nathan Fillion's tweets, he's just like, "Oh my god, look at, Kate tackle that guy." What? Like, he was like tweeting the whole, like, live tweeting the whole episode. So if you haven't read his stuff, you need to read it, because it was really funny. I wish I didn't get to screenshot them, but they were hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the only like news and gossip I have, but like it's always funny watching Nathan Fillion live tweet every episode, because he obviously knows before that, but he always likes to play like, "I didn't know that."
Along,
Oh man, keep watching. Like, I thought that was really cool.
And one thing that we didn't even mention is,
oh man, did I skip something? Oh man.
Well, this is just like an observation.
Okay.
Is the show is called Castle. There was no way that he was going to die, people.
No, I've read some tweets that are like, if he dies, we riot. And I was like, well, that wouldn't make sense. If he dies, then who runs the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've read like a couple tweets of that where they're like, oh, he's dead, we're never gonna find him, and I was like, what are we supposed to do? There would not be an after show.
There would be no show.
I thought it was so funny how people are already jumping ship.
We already knew we were gonna find him.
He was gonna be there, and I was just hoping it wasn't a coma patient. So it didn't. Yeah. It wasn't completely there, but I was like, I don't remember, and I was just like, stop.
Yeah. And we've been getting a lot more in season 6 of Beckett's storyline, like having her.
Yeah, like her family history.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering if this season, now that Castle's kind of been the main focus of the first episode, if
maybe
he'll kind of, the
take
focus
over that
back over to him, because the show is called Castle.
Yeah, and I mean, I understood it because, I mean, actually the past few seasons, it's usually about Beckett.
Yeah.
Like every single time. And now this time it's kind of a good twist. Yeah. So I like that. But at the same time, I'm hoping that they don't, like, because it is Castle, that they're going to, like, throw all these crazy little situations. That's just my hope. But I'm really glad that they're finally kind of bringing that back around, because I'm very excited. Like, hence why if Mama Castle is a part of it, I'm excited to see what her reasoning is.
What she's going to do. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
She can also be a scary lady. I mean, I've seen her angry, so I was like, this is going to be good. I'm excited.
So, well, thank you everyone for watching, and let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at atorres890. That's ATORRES 890.
And you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Heather Joy Smith. And we will be back here next Monday, same time, same place. We'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.